Hey guys, today's video is 5 easy, cheap, and quick dinner ideas. These are meals that we do on a regular basis if we're in a rush or we're trying to be on a cheaper budget. Some of these things are canned food and boxed food, but that's the point. It's easy and it's cheap, so I'm not saying these are healthy at all, but I try to do fruits and vegetables and starches and try to make it a little bit healthy, but I just wanted to let you guys know that before you watch the video. So these are 5 dinners. I hope you guys can get some good ideas, and let's get on to it. So the first cheap, easy, and quick meal I have for you guys is breakfast for dinner. I know these are all dinner ideas, but we actually do breakfast for dinner a lot just because our mornings are pretty busy and we don't get to do like a huge breakfast very often. So we like to do breakfast for dinner, and to make this cheap and easy, it is kind of a lot of stuff, but usually we only have to buy a protein, whether it's sausage or bacon. We always have eggs on hand, we always have pancake mix on hand, and bread for toast, and fruit. We always have all of that. So that's how I make sure that it's cheap, because we only really have to buy like sausage or bacon, and sometimes we do without that. So the first thing I do is get the eggs going and make some pancakes, and get the sausage or the bacon in the pan because that's what takes the longest. Once the sausage is done, I transfer it to a plate and I get the toast going. Sometimes we do bagels instead of toast as well, and we usually have bagels on hand too. Then you just get the eggs going, and everything is pretty quick once you get that protein done. We paired it with some bananas this time, and there you go. Your breakfast for dinner is ready. The second dinner idea I have is spaghetti and meat sauce. We usually have some meat in the freezer from Sam's Club or Costco. So this is really easy. Just thaw out the meat and then you brown it, and then you add jarred tomato sauce. Again, this is quick and easy. If we want to do like our own homemade sauce, we do that sometimes. But for easy, quick meals, the canned or jarred sauce is just good enough. And then also the frozen garlic bread. Couldn't remember what it was called there for a second. And that's pretty much it. You got your spaghetti with meat sauce. Now on to the meatloaf and mashed potatoes. The reason this is a quick recipe for us is because this is one of the recipes where you make it, it's quick to make, and then it cooks for a while in the oven and you can get other things done. You can clean the kitchen, you can do things with the kids, and the oven is doing all of the work and you're pretty much done in the kitchen. If it's just Chris and I and the kids, we only cook 2 potatoes, so I peeled the potatoes and cut them up into small little chunks. For our meatloaf recipe, we have a pound of meat, we have ketchup, mustard, bread, Worcestershire sauce, celery seed, salt, pepper, and then sometimes we do a splash of milk. I didn't do that this day, and then Chris came over and added some breadcrumbs as well. This is my mother-in-law's recipe, but we kind of spruced it up a little bit too. We don't put the meatloaf in an actual loaf pan. We just put it on a cookie sheet on a rack so that it can have the fat drip down and not be in the pan. And then we put in the oven at 350 for an hour. And again, we can just get things done and clean up the kitchen and be ready for it when it's done. After your water is boiled in a pot, you put your potatoes in and you let those cook until the potatoes are super soft and the fork goes straight through them. Then you drain them out and you mash them up. And then we like to add all sorts of different things depending on what we have on hand, but we definitely add milk to them, and sometimes we add sour cream, sometimes we add cream cheese, salt, pepper, however you want to do it. And you can mash it a little bit and have it chunky, or you can make it super smooth. There's all different ways to make mashed potatoes, but it's all pretty simple. This day, Jane and I were going out and I was leaving Chris with the kids and the meatloaf, and it wasn't done by the time I was ready to leave. So I'm showing you guys the finished product. It had 12 more minutes and then we added canned green beans so that the kids could have some veggies as well. The next meal is an easy fish and asparagus and couscous meal. This kind of sounds fancy and not very cheap, but it definitely is. We got flounder this day, but we get all sorts of fish, and we cook it all sorts of different ways. This is a little bit more complex. Sometimes we just put it straight into the oven with some seasoning on it, and fish takes really fast to cook. But this day, Chris wanted to do like a little battered fish. So we sprayed a rack on a cookie sheet, and Chris took the fish and dipped it in some egg and then in some breadcrumbs and put it on the rack. And then after that, he just sprinkled it with some melted butter and some Parmesan cheese, and it makes a really good like Parmesan cheese crusted fish, and it's actually very, very simple to do. I forgot he added a little bit of garlic salt too. I said couscous earlier, but it's actually quinoa, and it's quinoa in a bag. This is really easy to do. You just put it in some water before it's boiled in that bag, and then once it's boiled, you just boil it for 10 minutes and it's ready to go. This is the easiest way that we do asparagus. We put it on a cookie sheet and you just drizzle a little bit of oil on it. Chris had a little bit too much oil, so he got a little paper towel to help that. And then he just put seasoning salt on top, but you can do regular salt, you can do salt and pepper, or any other kind of seasoning that you like. And then we just stick it in with the fish at 450 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes, and they are good to go. Perfect asparagus. And the fish goes in for about the same amount of time, about 15 to 20 minutes, so it's very quick. This last recipe is one of our favorites, and to tell you guys the truth and to be honest, I have never made this by myself before, but Chris was at work and dinner needed to be ready. So it is quick and it's very easy to make. I just never made it before, and that's Philly cheesesteaks. This is really cheap and easy. Like I said, you just get like a half of an onion. Sometimes you can do peppers or mushrooms as well, but we make it simple and just add onion to the meat. And we're also having corn on the cob with this as well, and French fries. Again, two super easy and quick sides. Then depending on what kind of fries you get, we just got these from Publix. We have the oven ready. We just throw them on the pan and follow the directions on the bag. Before putting the corn in, I make sure to salt the water. It just makes the corn that much better. And then I have this little griddle thing that I cook the Philly cheesesteaks on, but you can do it in a regular pan as well. And we just use these steakums from the frozen aisle in the grocery store, and they work best for the Philly cheesesteaks. They're really good. And we just put out a certain amount depending on how many sandwiches we wanted. And you just cook the meat, and once the meat is almost done, then you add the onions. You want to make sure the onions get cooked with it as well. Then we like adding American or white American cheese to our sandwiches. So once the meat and onions are done, we add the cheese on top, and then put it in the sandwiches. And what you don't see is that after I put all the meat and onion and cheese in the bread, I stuck it in the oven for a second to toast the bread up, and I added a little tiny bit more cheese on the top as well. And that is it. I hope you guys got some good ideas. Let me know down in the comments some of your quick, easy, and cheap dinner ideas as well, because we need some new ones as we recycle those a lot. And I'm actually sitting here next to Chris's basil that he grows in his office. And there's some up there too. So let me know down in the comments if you guys want Chris to do a video on how he grows his basil, and he's gonna be doing some other plants and some other flowers as well soon. So maybe he'll do a video for you guys. But I hope you guys liked it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.